it looks like Jen Rosati and Dawn Staley and all those folks that Cheryl Reeve, who had a hand in Caitlin Clark not making Team USA last year in the Olympics, the actual committee looks like they may be gone.
Exclude the biggest female star from the Olympic lineup and the consequences come fast: public fury, media firestorms, and league officials scrambling as accountability questions surge across every platform.
I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch dirt just be moved around because Caitlin Clark's not on the team. If she's there, it's appointment TV. You people, whoever did this, honestly, hey, take your brain, put it in a museum, and study it for how dumb.
After Caitlin Clark's shocking Olympic snub, USA Basketball has now overhauled its entire selection system, and the fallout has been massive. People are being pushed out, and many fans are calling it pure karma. With Sue Bird taking the reins, the path for the Indiana Fever star heading into Los Angeles 2028 suddenly looks completely different. No one expected the ripple effects of that decision. So, what really went down between Cheryl Reeve and the U.S. Olympic Committee? Comment CC 2028 if you're ready to see Caitlin dominate on the Olympic stage.
Used to be a committee. Dawn Staley, Jennifer Rizzuti, and all of the hooligans associated in picking the USA basketball team. All of the hooligans, Cheryl Reeves included, so full of themselves, so bound by tribalism that they just couldn't look past their own nose. And at the end of the day, look at them now. Look at them now. The same fate as Cheryl Swoops calling those Dallas Wings games. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
The Olympic Committee insisted Caitlin Clark was left off the roster for purely basketball reasons. At least, that's the story they wanted everyone to believe. Selection chair Jen Rosati argued the decision was based solely on experience, international play, and on-court criteria, completely dismissing popularity or marketability as factors. But many fans aren't buying it, seeing the explanation as little more than a carefully crafted cover.
Remember during the Olympics, the person from either South Korea or Japan, holding up the Caitlin Clark sign? Team USA looked at that gentleman and said, $, $, $. These people over there in Japan, these people over there in South Korea, they're not paying for Team USA to come and watch hoop, but they'll pay for Caitlin Clark. In fact, they are so strong about voicing that they'll pay for Caitlin Clark, they'll come to the Olympic game holding a sign that says, you guys.
Wait a second. Are we really supposed to believe they left out the most influential player in women's basketball? A player who shattered nearly every NCAA scoring record and transformed the sport in a single year? How does that make sense? And let's be clear, it's not just about popularity. Caitlin Clark already has substantial international experience, winning gold twice at the FIBA U19 World Cup and even earning tournament MVP honors. Ignoring that resume raises serious questions.
Decision on his part. Caitlin Clark is PR. That's where, how can they leave her? Once again, everybody's, out to get her. They don't want to.
Let's take a real look at what happened the moment Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA. Ticket prices skyrocketed in every city the Fever traveled to, and arenas that previously struggled to fill seats were suddenly packed to capacity. Her debut game against the Connecticut Sun outdrew every NBA playoff matchup that same weekend, an unprecedented milestone in WNBA history. Clark's rookie jersey became the league's top seller by a massive margin. And throughout her electrifying first season, she shattered an astonishing 62 records, proving her impact was nothing short of historic.
You gotta remember, the National Basketball Association, the NBA, the commissioner, Adam Silver, he came right out and said, I wouldn't have left Caitlin Clark off that team. And he even said, and several others said, women's basketball really dropped the ball on an opportunity to grow the women's game by leaving Caitlin Clark off that team.
These weren't minor improvements. Caitlin Clark fundamentally changed how the world watches women's basketball. Yet somehow, the Olympic Committee decided she wasn't valuable enough for the roster. The backlash was immediate and explosive. Basketball insiders instantly saw through the weak explanations. Stephen A. Smith slammed the decision, arguing it sabotaged the sport's growth at a pivotal moment. And four-time Olympic gold medalist Lisa Leslie didn't mince words either, calling Clark's exclusion the biggest marketing disaster in basketball history.
This is about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How dare you make this decision?
What does this tell you? It exposed a dated system run by people completely unwilling to evolve. The committee operated as if women's basketball were still fighting for scraps of attention back in 2004. They failed to recognize that Caitlin Clark wasn't just a phenomenal player, she was a once-in-a-generation opportunity to elevate the entire sport on a global stage. Think about it. During the Olympics, casual viewers tune in to sports they normally ignore. It's where new icons are born. Yet the committee knowingly left out the one athlete proven to attract those very viewers. By excluding Clark, they didn't just overlook talent, they sabotaged the sport's biggest chance for worldwide growth.
Dummies. For the first time, in the history of basketball, you have arguably a player who is the most popular player in the world. You could argue right now, Caitlin Clark is the most talked about, discussed, most popular, most puts asses in the seats, single basketball player in the world. You could argue that. Yeah, you can say maybe LeBron, Luka, whatever you want, but you can argue it. And you leave her off the Olympics team? It's not only a showcase for her, it's for the sport and the other WNBA players who are on this team. How dumb, how brain dead, how idiotic do the people running this thing have to?
This moment marked a turning point for women's basketball, a clear sign that the sport was losing momentum under outdated leadership. The committee's stubborn obsession with valuing experience over star power didn't just spark criticism, it created a full-blown PR disaster. The public outrage was impossible to ignore, and the mistake was far too obvious to spin or defend. But the backlash to Clark's exclusion was only the surface-level issue. Behind the scenes, USA Basketball was already cracking. Long-standing flaws in its selection process, leadership structure, and priorities were finally coming to light. The Clark decision wasn't a one-off misstep, it was the predictable result of a dysfunctional system that had been rotting from within and was now collapsing under its own weight.
If Caitlin Clark would have played, it would have been the biggest ratings of the Olympic Games last year. All right, and yeah, I don't know what it could have done to women's basketball.
Cheryl Reeve insists she had no role in Caitlin Clark's Olympic exclusion, claiming she wasn't heavily involved in the selection process and was unfairly blamed by USA Basketball critics. Nice try, coach, but the reality tells a very different story. The evidence surrounding her influence says otherwise.
But as a coach of the home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side.
I'll get two shits.
How about one?
Not even one shit.
Any second guessing here about not having Clark on the Olympic team?
From me.
Reeve undeniably influenced the selection process, even if she wasn't the only decision-maker. Committee Chair Jen Rosati openly confirmed that the roster was built to fit Reeve's coaching style. So when Reeve claims she had no control, what she's really doing is dodging responsibility. The moment fans demanded answers about why the most impactful player in women's basketball was left off the Olympic roster, Reeve shifted the blame, despite her fingerprints being all over the final decision.
Along with nearly losing the gold medal game to France, the U.S. women's team was caught up in controversy leading up to the Olympics because Caitlin Clark was not on the team. The argument not to take Clark, a rising global megastar in the sport, was in part because she had not participated in many Team USA offseason functions, and also because there were women with more national team experience who had earned the right to play at the Olympics.
Look at the final roster selections, seasoned veterans who fit Reeve's philosophy, prioritizing defense over offensive firepower. The committee's choices clearly reflected Reeve's Minnesota-linked approach, and that strategy nearly cost Team USA the gold medal.
Enough to be on the team. Based on how Caitlin Clark was playing, at the time, she was worthy of being on this team. This is Caitlin Clark up against Jewel Lloyd, Diana Taurasi, and Kelsey Plum. Yeah. It's tough when you see it in front of you, right? Chelsea Gray's not even on this graph. Why isn't Chelsea Gray on this graph, you may ask? Great question. Chelsea Gray started the beginning of the season in...
Remember that pivotal matchup against France? In a game Team USA was heavily favored to win. They barely eked out a 67-66 victory. The squad struggled to maintain consistent offense during key moments. Whenever the defense collapsed on players like Ja Wilson or Brianna Stewart, ball movement stagnated and three-point opportunities were limited. A talent like Caitlin Clark could have transformed those moments. The team occasionally appeared sluggish and predictable, lacking the creativity, speed, and energy that Clark's dynamic style consistently brings to the court.
Clark, based on skill, based on how she was performing, deserved to be on that team. Based on Chelsea Gray coming off hobbled from injury, you don't even know the status of her as a player. Caitlin Clark should have been on that team. She was easily one of the best players from Jump Street. Her struggling, oh my God, she's struggling with 16 points, 6 assists, and 5.5 rebounds. Oh my God, the struggle. She's shooting 39%. Yeah, Jewel Lloyd always shoots like trash. Kelsey, you got...
Caitlin Clark's performance post-Olympic snub provided the most striking evidence against Reeve's judgment. Prior to being left off the team, she averaged 15.6 points and 6.3 assists per game. After the exclusion, her stats surged to nearly 23 points and 9.5 assists. Highlighted by a single-game 19-assist feat, she also broke the WNBA rookie record. Clark's rapid improvement and record-breaking impact exposed the committee's evaluation as seriously flawed, casting serious doubt on their decision-making and criteria.
Get this. These are the top 3 scorers in the WNBA since the women brought home gold in the Olympics a few weeks ago. 2 of the members are of the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey.
Reeve's response only worsened the situation. When asked about Clark's Olympic chances, she snapped, "Why should I answer a national team question?" As the exchange grew tense, she distanced herself from her Olympic responsibilities, wearing her Minnesota Lynx apparel as a statement. This wasn't an isolated mistake. It revealed a leadership style unwilling to adapt to the evolving landscape of women's basketball. Team USA did win gold, but their narrow escapes exposed how close the team came to struggling under outdated methods and inflexible coaching decisions.
Much conversation about women's basketball, the run you in South Carolina had to the national championship, a perfect season. Obviously, Caitlin Clark. And there was so much conversation on, should Caitlin be on the U.S. women's national team? You were part of a selection group. Give me your read on that now that we've got a little bit of time and we can get into some clear air to see what happened.
Right. When as a committee member, you're charged with putting together best team of players, the best talent. Caitlin is just a rookie in the WNBA. Wasn't playing bad, but wasn't playing like she's playing now. If we had to do it all over again, the way that she's playing, she would be in really high consideration of making.
The combination of the team's shaky performance, Reeve's questionable roster decisions, and her resistance to feedback created a perfect storm. A system prioritizing tradition over talent and marketability proved unsustainable for USA basketball, demanding urgent reform.
She is playing head and shoulders above a lot of people, shooting the ball extremely well. I mean, she is an elite passer.
If we were playing how she's playing now, she would be in high consideration. They can't even admit to themselves. If she was playing how she's playing now, yeah, she would definitely be on the team. We could have had our cake and eat it too. We got Kobe and LeBron on the same team.
The Clark controversy highlighted deeper flaws beyond the selection process, uncovering fundamental problems in USA basketball's team-building strategy. Addressing it meant more than changing coaches or adding players. It demanded a complete reevaluation of the approach to Olympic basketball.
Sue Bird is expected to be announced as the managing director for the USA women's national team for the 2028 Olympic cycle. She will take on what is known as the Grant Hill role, selecting player rosters and coaching staff. And for those of you who aren't too familiar with the WNBA or the women's side of Team USA, and Grant Hill's a little bit new in this role, Jerry Colangelo role. Jerry Colangelo, the godfather of Team USA basketball from 2005 to 2021, picking, I want him, I want him, I want him, I want him.
USA Basketball completely upended the women's Olympic program. Sue Bird, a 5-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time WNBA champion, and true legend of the sport, is now the managing director. Her leadership signals more than a new face. It marks a total overhaul in how future Olympic teams will be built and structured.
USA Basketball will announce a major shift in its structuring on Thursday when Sue Bird is announced as the managing director for the USA Women's National Team 2028 cycle. Her hiring is a departure from a long-standing structure of using a committee to select players and coaches for national team rosters and comes on the heels of a very close call for the USA Women.
The announcement marks a major shift in authority, first reported by The Athletic and confirmed by multiple sources. Sue Bird will bypass an unclear advisory committee, taking direct control over coaching decisions and player selection. Sound familiar? It should. This mirrors the system Grant Hill has overseen for the men's team since 2021, giving Bird full, hands-on responsibility for shaping the future of USA women's basketball.
Financial opportunities for women grow in the sport, and in marketing, USA Basketball wanted to make sure it was doing everything possible to ensure the allure of playing major international events remained strong, and a phone call from Bird is going to go a long way with players, one source close to the USA program said.
Think about what this means. No more mysterious, behind-the-scenes committee decisions. No more coaches claiming responsibility for choices they didn't actually make. Bird now holds the final authority. Caitlin Clark will make the team if she wants, end of story. Bird's combination of basketball intelligence and commercial savvy makes her perfect for the role. She understands what drives ticket sales and grows the sport. Bird has praised Clark's unique talents, noting her deep-range shooting and game-changing style. She also recognizes how Clark has shattered outdated perceptions of women's basketball, proving her appeal extends far beyond the court.
Bird is taking over as managing director of USA Basketball. And this is done in a model of the men's way of doing it. Okay? She will have the say over who makes this.
This goes beyond mere praise. It highlights Clark's marketability. Bird recognizes that star power matters as much as on-court skill. While winning gold remains the primary goal, the Olympics also aim to captivate millions of casual viewers, turning them into long-term fans and expanding the reach and influence of women's basketball worldwide.
Sue Bird's been a vocal supporter of Caitlin Clark. The fact is, while everybody was coming down on Caitlin Clark last year, so many, she was one that was trying to prop her up and was an advocate for Caitlin. I do not think you will. Caitlin Clark will not make that team next time, I can tell you.
Bird brings unmatched credibility with current players, having competed alongside or against nearly every prominent star in the league. She knows who motivates teammates, who thrives under pressure, and who struggles, insights that are invaluable when building an Olympic roster. The timing of this announcement is deliberate. As the Clark controversy unfolded, USA Basketball recognized the program's reputation was at risk, witnessing a gold medal game that nearly slipped away. With women's basketball entering a peak era of popularity, it became clear that the old system could no longer support the sport's growth or protect its rising stars.
Bird's new role is a major change for USA Basketball. Previously, the women's team and coaching staff was named by committee. Now, that is Sue Bird's job. Wow.
Bird's appointment marks a decisive break from tradition and politics within USA Basketball. For the first time, team selections will prioritize both elite skill and marketability, moving away from outdated thinking and opaque committee decisions. Roster choices will now be made by someone who truly understands the game and its broader business impact. For Caitlin Clark, this shift is monumental. Her path to Olympic competition has dramatically improved, offering renewed hope and opportunity. The story of her potential redemption and inclusion on the team is only beginning, signaling a new era where talent, influence, and visibility are fully recognized.